and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. I hope everyone had an enjoyable Shabbos and weekend. We begin another week as we are getting closer and closer to Chag Pesach. Just to remind everyone that our previous episodes from last year, if you just scroll through and do a search in your podcast provider, you'll be able to find many, many episodes about the significance of Pesach and also the Seder night, things that hopefully you can use in your preparations for the upcoming Chag. But we continue to learn and daven for Chaylei Tzva Haganah Yisrael, Refuah Shalem L'Chol Am Yisrael that need, and of course the safe return of our hostages. And our learning is dedicated in memory of Seren Daniel Shimon ben Harav Daron V'Sheli Hashem Yakum Damo. So we're talking about Dina Demalchusa Dina, and the Rav continues. Hasiyag hashmamoti biyoser she'omi b'fnei din hamalchusu shekol din o chok hanoged es chokei haTorah ein lo tokef mechayev. So one would think, or the understanding that is very important here, is that when you have a kingship and there is a law or an enactment that goes against the Torah, so then it wouldn't necessarily have any teeth. It wouldn't create any obligation. Shekei nemli Yehoshua ben Nun, because we're told that it was said to Yehoshua ben Nun, shemanheg Yisrael yesh lo samchus laharos haraos, that if a leader in Israel, and if he's able to make decisions, enactments, and anyone who rebels against this or speaks against this will be punished and will die. But in the continuation of the pasuk, it still uses as a phrase that's used many times, certainly in the very beginning of Sefer Yoshua, chazak ve'amatz, to be strengthened and fortified, shene'emar. And the pasuk says, this is the first chapter of Yoshua, Perek Aleph pasuk Tezayin and Yudches. Vayanu es Yoshua lemor, kol asher tzivisanu na'aseh ves kol asher tishlochenu ne'elech, kechol asher shamanu al Moshe kein nishma elecha, rak yeh Hashem elokecha imach kasher haya im Moshe. It said we're going to listen to the words of Moshe, Hashem, etc. And anyone that rebels and doesn't listen to your words, whatever you command will die. And it just claims at the end, rak chazak ve'amatz, however you should be strong and strengthened. Kolomar, Takanosena shel Yoshua machayivos betnai shekayim v'sapasuk rak chazak ve'amatz ma'od lishmor lasos k'chol haTorah. The institutions and the gzeros of Yehoshua are obligatory on condition that the people fulfill the pasuk where it says you have to be chazak ve'amatz, you have to be strong, strengthen yourself to safeguard the Torah that Moshe, my servant, Hashem says, has commanded you. You cannot deviate right or left. Avalim yorah haros benigud laTorah, but if you enact something that's against the Torah, which is not something that Hashem commanded, Devar v'Te'elim, then it's meaningless. There's no obligation whatsoever. Ve'en lihudu lishmoa b'kolo, and a person does not have to listen to his voice. V'chein pasuk on Rambam, the Rambam writes in Hilchos Malachim, she'im gazer hamelech levatel mitzvah, that if the king makes a decree, you would think the omnipotent, all-powerful king, if he enacts something that is against the Torah, it tells you to abrogate a mitzvah in the Torah, ein shomim lo, you don't have to listen. B'shum shedvar shakadosh baruch hu because Hashem's words take precedence over that of a king. Because the king is also a servant to Hashem, who is the king of all kings. If this is what is said like a king of Yehoshua ben Nun's stature, who was the Mamalei Malkim, he filled the place of Moshe Rabbeinu, Gedol Nevi'ei Yisrael, the greatest prophet of Israel, Sanhedrin and Yisrael Kimblu Alehem, and the Sanhedrin, the great court, and Am Yisrael, they accepted it from them. Kavachomer shekol melech memshalah einem yichol laros haros benigud lemitzvos Torah. So then, certainly, no king or any government can make an enactment that is against the Torah. So, if let's say, again, we're talking about in Israel, obviously, but if the government of Israel would make a law that you're required to desecrate the Shabbos, chas v'shalom, or achilas machalam asurim kedugmas chazir, or if that he said you would have to eat what they call basar levan in Israel, to eat pork. If they would tell you that you have to This is an interesting example because we've seen historical incidents of this, where if they would require you to uproot Jews from their land and to abrogate the mitzvah of settling in the land of Israel, al pi haTorah lo yeh shum tokav l'chukim ela, according to the Torah, you don't have to listen to this. V'al kol Yisrael tiyeh mutal sachav l'hisnaged le'vitzuam, and therefore everyone has an obligation to contest and not listen to these. So, again, you could see where the areas of complications will arrive. So if we just think back to the Natkut, when the Jewish people were taken out of Gaza a little less than 20 years ago, and the vikuach and the difficulty that many face, where if, let's say, someone was given orders, a very complicated question, somebody's in the military, they were given orders to uproot families from Gush Katif. Do you have to follow those orders? Again, I'm not going to discuss that here, and I know Malamed discusses it in other places and other tshuvas, but you could just see where this becomes very, very complicated. It's Dina Demalchusa Dina, and in general, okay, you have to pay taxes. We understand that. And you have to be a good citizen. You have to follow the traffic laws. Although it seems that no one in Israel follows the traffic laws, but that's a whole other story. But we have to certainly follow the rules of the land. However, what if they go against the Torah, or what you believe is the Torah? That's something that's very difficult. And it's certainly now, if you look at the Chok HaGiyus, the draft law that's becoming so controversial right now, and delays and conditions and stipends and taxes are very, very complicated. But that's where all these halachas come into play. And of course, different people from different camps will have very different opinions on it. But it's worth it for us to understand some of the basis and to perhaps appreciate the complexity of these issues. So we begin another week of learning. Thank you for joining us. Please continue to daven tzva, Haganah Yisrael, for Shalom L'Chol Am Yisrael, safe return of our hostages. And please learn in memory of Seren Daniel Shimon Ben Harav Daron V'Sheli Hashem Yikam Damo. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.